Barren Millionaire thought he'd never have kids, but his maid surprised him with 2 children. Before we dive into this story, share in the comments where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Benjamin Carter had everything many people could only dream of: a grand mansion, luxurious cars, and a seemingly endless bank account. But within the vastness of his home, the silence was louder than the wind outside. At 38, Benjamin was a successful businessman, but the shine of his accomplishments couldn't lighten the dark secret he carried. He couldn't have children. This was the heavy burden he bore every day. At family gatherings, the judgmental looks and cruel jokes about his inability to have a family tore him apart inside. The society he lived in seemed obsessed with measuring a man's worth by the size of his lineage, and Benjamin felt like he would never meet those expectations. One morning, the relentless buzz of his thoughts led him to take a drive through the deserted streets of the suburbs. His purpose was clear: to escape, even for a few hours, from the walls that confined him. Outside a small cafe he'd never noticed before, Benjamin felt compelled to stop. He needed a break from the life that was suffocating him. The atmosphere inside was simple and welcoming, far from the luxury he was used to. Behind the counter, a woman with tired eyes but a warm smile carried trays back and forth. Her name tag read Emma Walker, a humble waitress and single mother struggling to make ends meet. When she approached his table, Benjamin, with his usual authoritative demeanor, tried to take charge. But Emma, unlike anyone he'd met before, wasn't intimidated. With gentle firmness, she corrected him when he miscommunicated his order. Unintentionally, her words pierced the shield of superiority he had built over the years. Something in that brief interaction struck a deep chord in Benjamin. Emma's words, her simple gaze, it all seemed like a mirror reflecting the flaws and weaknesses he tried to hide. But there was something else, too. A boldness and honesty he didn't find in the people around him. As he returned to his car, Benjamin felt the weight of his loneliness again, but this time mixed with a new emotion: curiosity. Emma had challenged him in an unexpected way, and for some reason, he wanted to know more about her. An idea began forming in his mind. What if she could be the key to unlocking new possibilities in his life? Determined, he came up with a plan. He would hire her to work in his mansion, claiming he needed help with organization and maintenance. But his true intention was to get to know the woman who, in such a short time, made him question his own truths and perhaps begin to fill the emptiness consuming him. The day after their first meeting, Emma was at the cafe, cleaning the last table of the day, when she saw Benjamin walk in again. He seemed different from the first time, less rushed, perhaps even contemplative. As he approached the counter, Emma felt her curiosity grow. "Can we talk for a moment?" Benjamin asked, his voice controlled yet kind. "Sure," Emma replied hesitantly, drying her hands on her apron before sitting across from him. Benjamin paused, as if carefully choosing his words. "I'd like to offer you a job opportunity. I know this might sound strange, but I'd like you to consider working at my home. I need someone with your dedication and skills." Emma blinked, surprised by his direct offer. "Work at your home? I don't know. I barely know you. What would I even do?" "I understand it's an unusual request," he continued, leaning in slightly, "but I believe it could benefit both of us. And of course, the pay would be significantly higher than what you make here. The truth is, I need someone to help my housekeeper manage the mansion." She thought about his words, weighing her urgent need to provide a better life for her child against her hesitation to accept such an unusual offer. Finally, Emma nodded slowly, though a nervous flutter in her stomach betrayed her uncertainty. "All right, I'll take the offer. But I hope you know I don't have any experience managing a mansion. I'll do my best." Benjamin seemed relieved, offering a small smile. "I believe in you, Emma. Thank you for trusting me." With the agreement made, they both stood up, Emma feeling a mix of relief and apprehension. The next day, Emma nervously wrung her hands as she boarded the bus heading toward Benjamin Carter's grand mansion. The unexpected job offer felt like a lifeline. She didn't know the man who had hired her, but the money he promised could make a huge difference in her life and that of her 5-year-old son, Lucas. When she arrived, Emma felt small standing before the enormous structure. Taking a deep breath, she thought of Lucas, remembering how his face lit up when she told him bedtime stories. This job was for him, and that gave her strength. Inside the mansion, she was greeted by Clara Hastings, the longtime housekeeper. Clara looked Emma up and down with an expression that blended suspicion and superiority. "Oh, you must be the new helper," Clara said, her tone making Emma feel even more like an outsider. "Yes, I'm Emma," she replied with a hesitant smile. "I'm here to help wherever I'm needed." Clara kept her stern demeanor. "Well, young lady, we have strict rules here. I hope you won't disrupt how this house operates." Emma's eyes shone with quiet determination. "I'll do my best." From his office upstairs, Benjamin watched the interaction through a slightly open window. He was curious about Emma, especially after their brief encounter at the cafe. Seeing her now, standing firm yet calm in the face of Clara's rigidity, only deepened his admiration for her. Though he decided to keep her under observation, Benjamin maintained his distant attitude. He didn't want her to see beyond his cold exterior, as he knew his own heart carried insecurities he preferred to hide. In Emma, he saw someone strong on the outside but possibly fragile within, a reflection of himself he hadn't anticipated. Over the following days, Emma proved her dedication. She worked tirelessly, cleaning every corner of the mansion, even under Clara's critical eye, which never missed a chance to point out flaws. Sensing the silent connection forming between Emma and Benjamin, Clara began spreading malicious comments about Emma, both among the staff and to Benjamin himself. Despite the challenges, Emma found small rewards along the way. One afternoon, while working in the garden, she noticed Benjamin watching her from a distance. He greeted her with a slight nod, a gesture so subtle yet warm enough to lift her weary spirits. In those quiet moments of reflection, Benjamin began to imagine an unexpected future. The thought of marrying Emma came to him like a whisper. He couldn't fully understand why, but there was something about her that stirred a sense of protection and renewal within him. He caught himself wondering what it would be like to share his life with someone who understood struggle and resilience. Still, he knew these were vague fantasies, far from being fully formed. Besides, there was Clara to consider, a woman he knew harbored feelings for him and whose manipulative presence could further complicate his already muddled thoughts. Yet his mind continued to shape a strange but entirely possible future, one where Emma could stand by his side as his wife. Emma, on the other hand, was beginning to realize that her work here wasn't just physical. Clara's persistent, shadowy presence made everything more challenging. Her instincts urged her to stay cautious and keep her guard up. Outside, the night was dark, but Benjamin Carter's mansion glowed with its bright lights, creating an unsettling contrast. Inside, however, the atmosphere felt heavy and oppressive. After a long day of work, Emma sat at the servants' kitchen table, her stomach knotted with tension. Clara's cold stares followed her like shadows, amplifying her unease. Suddenly, Benjamin entered. Looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read, he sat down beside her, his gaze fixed on her, the silence making Emma's heart race. "So, how was your day, Emma?" Benjamin finally broke the silence, trying to sound casual. His tone was normal, but there was an undercurrent of something more. "It was hard as usual," Emma replied, striving to stay composed. "The house is big, and there's a lot to do." The rest of the meal passed tensely, the sound of cutlery against plates ringing louder than it should. When they finished, Benjamin dismissed the other staff, including a clearly displeased Clara. Emma was left alone with her employer, feeling the weight of unspoken expectations in the air. "Emma," Benjamin began, his nervousness apparent. "There's something important I need to discuss with you." He paused, as if struggling with his own words. "Yes," she replied, her heart pounding. Benjamin took a deep breath. "What I'm about to say might seem unexpected, but I want you to really think it through before making any decisions." Emma frowned, her mind starting to fill with unsettling possibilities. "What is this about?" He leaned forward, his gaze steady. "I want to propose a marriage of convenience." The words hung in the air like a heavy weight, and Emma felt her heart drop. "A marriage of convenience? With you?" "Yes," he confirmed quickly. "It would silence my family's criticism. They've been pressuring me to have a traditional family and prove I'm capable of leading a normal life. You'd be the ideal mother figure for my son," he added, unaware of the deep impact those words would have. Shocked, Emma stood up abruptly. "How can you be so cold? Marrying me just to solve your problems? I'm not some object you can use to pacify your family. This is completely inhumane." Benjamin held his posture, though a flicker of pain crossed his face. I understand it sounds insensitive, but think about your son. You know we could both benefit from this arrangement. I can offer you security, a stable home. And you think that's enough? Material things can't fill the void. Emma exclaimed, her voice echoing through the room. I refuse to be part of this. I won't be a trophy on your shelf. The silence that followed felt endless. Benjamin closed his eyes for a moment, reflecting on the intensity of her reaction. He realized that his proposal, no matter how logical it seemed, was deeply flawed. The tension in the room slowly eased. Emma took a deep breath, trying to regain her composure. And even if I were to consider it, what would the terms be? Would you use me as a front while I'm trapped in this mansion, unable to have my own voice? Benjamin finally relaxed his shoulders, appearing more vulnerable. I don't want to control you, Emma. I just don't know how else to handle my family's pressure. But you're strong and resilient, and even if it's not traditional, we can respect each other's boundaries. Emma looked at him, seeing something beyond the coldness she had initially perceived. If I accept this proposal, it will be on my terms. I won't allow you to humiliate me or treat me like your property. If you accept, I promise to respect your conditions, and you'll have your freedom. We can build a partnership, maybe even a friendship, Benjamin offered, now revealing a vulnerability she hadn't noticed before. Emma hesitated. The internal struggle was evident. Benjamin's words echoed in her heart. She needed security for Lucas, a chance to provide him with a better life. The offer had its merits, but the risks were equally hard to ignore. So, I'm thinking. The door abruptly opened, revealing Clara, who had overheard everything. Her expression was triumphant, and she smiled maliciously. Oh, this is simply delightful. But I'm sure we can do much more for Emma. Emma narrowed her eyes at Clara, sensing that her presence was far from harmless. Clara took the opportunity to speak, ready to manipulate the situation. Do you really think a marriage like this will work? What if Emma has other intentions? Wouldn't it be risky to let someone like her get so close to you, Benjamin? Benjamin turned to Clara, visibly irritated. This is none of your business, Clara. I'm making my own decisions. Clara let out a sarcastic laugh. Decisions, sure, but only you can see the consequences. Emma might not be as trustworthy as she seems. Who knows what she really wants out of this arrangement? Emma, now both stunned and defensive, faced Clara with determination. Please don't drag me into your games. Benjamin and I are two adults having a conversation. I can certainly take care of my own interests. Clara crossed her arms, her smile cunning. We'll see, dear, but I wonder if you truly understand what you're getting yourself into. The tension was palpable as Clara left the room, leaving a heavy atmosphere behind. Emma looked at Benjamin, trying to process what had just happened. Sorry, I didn't expect Clara to interfere like that. Benjamin said, breaking the silence. She's relentless, isn't she? She seems to manipulate everything and everyone, that's for sure, Emma replied, her resolve starting to solidify. But I know myself well enough. I won't be a puppet for her or anyone else. If I agree to this marriage, it will be on my terms. Benjamin nodded slowly. I respect that, and you should know that I'm not someone who lets others control me either. I just want to quiet my family's criticism, but only if you're willing to go along with it. Emma thought carefully about her options. It was an unusual proposal, a complicated situation, but the desire to create a better future for Lucas couldn't be ignored. Her heart warmed at the thought of how she could use this opportunity to change their lives. Yes, Benjamin, I'll accept your proposal, but let me make one thing clear. You cannot treat me like a servant or humiliate me. I demand respect and the freedom to be myself, even if we're married, Emma said, her voice steady and sincere. Benjamin's expression softened, a mix of relief and admiration showing on his face. I accept your terms. We'll find a way to make this work for both of us. And so, with a deep breath, Emma made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. She wouldn't let Clara or anyone else control the course of her story. As the night progressed, a new dynamic began to take shape. Emma knew challenges lay ahead, especially with Clara determined to set traps and stir up trouble. Yet, with her unshakable resolve and the drive to secure a better future for Lucas, Emma was ready to face whatever came her way. The wedding day arrived, a simple ceremony held amidst the grandeur of Benjamin's mansion. The couple was surrounded by only a handful of guests, and the atmosphere was a mix of apprehension and anticipation. Emma wore a modest white dress she had found at a second-hand store. It reflected her simple style, but her eyes shone with hope. Benjamin, on the other hand, appeared composed, though his eyes betrayed his true emotions. His calm expression masked feelings he wasn't yet ready to share. The exchange of vows was brief and reserved, and every word spoken added another layer of uncertainty to Emma's heart. "I, Benjamin, take you, Emma, as my wife." His words echoed, but Emma felt as though the promise lingered only in the air between them. After the ceremony, as the guests dispersed, Emma looked into Benjamin's eyes. "We can make this work, right?" "Yes," he replied, though the hesitation in his voice was unmistakable. In the days that followed, Emma and Benjamin began to shape their new life together. There were moments when Benjamin's small gestures touched Emma deeply. He seemed genuinely thoughtful when he brought home a book full of children's stories for Lucas, or asked what she might like to do on the weekend. "How about we spend a day at the park with Lucas on Saturday?" Benjamin suggested one day, offering Emma a soft smile. The sparkle in his eyes made her heart flutter. "I think it would be fun." Emma felt a warmth rise in her chest and smiled, moved by his kindness. "That sounds wonderful. Lucas would love it," she replied enthusiastically. On the day of the outing, the sun shone brightly, and the park was alive with laughter and vibrant colors. Benjamin watched Lucas play on one of the playground structures, his face lit with pure joy. Meanwhile, Emma turned to Benjamin, observing the calmness on his face. There was a peaceful expression she hadn't seen before, something that made her feel deeply connected to him. "Lucas really likes you," Emma said, her smile filled with affection. Benjamin looked at her, a hint of vulnerability in his eyes. "You know, I've always dreamed of being a father, and Lucas is such a wonderful child," he said sincerely. "That's why you wanted this marriage, isn't it? Because it came with a kid and everything for your perfect family?" Emma teased, playfully winking at him to lighten the mood. He smiled, but his expression grew more serious. It wasn't just about Lucas. It was about his mother. "You intrigue me, Emma, and I need a woman with your strength by my side," Benjamin admitted, his words catching Emma off guard. She felt a bit flustered by his confession, her heart racing. The man before her was much more than the aloof millionaire she had imagined. He was vulnerable, sensitive, and, above all, human. The way he spoke about his feelings made her realize there was far more depth to Benjamin than she had initially believed. Still, even these moments seemed to carry an invisible barrier that Benjamin couldn't quite break through. He was kind, but his smiles were often followed by silence. Deep down, Emma felt torn. She wanted to get closer to him, to understand his sadness, but something always held her back. It was a constant struggle between the hope for a brighter future and the fear of never reaching what she truly longed for. At the same time, Clara was determined to ruin any chance of happiness. She began spreading rumors among the mansion's staff, insinuating that Emma was a gold digger, only there for Benjamin's wealth. "Have you seen how she acts? Always with a smile, as if she's enjoying the luxurious life," Clara said, laughing with a group of employees. "Little does she know, wealth can disappear overnight." Clara's words spread like wildfire, affecting how others perceived Emma. Some staff began avoiding her, casting judgmental glances her way. Emma noticed the shift in atmosphere, feeling as though she was being pushed out. One morning, as Emma was busy in the kitchen preparing breakfast, Clara entered and stared directly at her. "You know, dear," Clara began with her cynical tone, "Benjamin has always had a soft spot for damsels in distress. But the truth is, appearances can be deceiving. He doesn't trust you." Emma felt her blood boil. "Benjamin is my husband, Clara. I'm not a damsel in distress. I'm a mother trying to give her son the best." Clearly satisfied, Clara just laughed. "Oh, but don't forget, he might not see you that way for long. A real man wants someone who can give him a legacy, and you're not that woman." Let's play a little game with those who only read the comments. Type pizza in the comments. Only those who get this far will understand. Now, let's continue with the story. Clara's words cut like knives, piercing Emma's mind and leaving wounds. She tried to stay strong, but a whirlwind of insecurities began to invade her thoughts. Could it be true that Benjamin didn't trust her? Many other questions echoed in her mind, and doubt began to take root in her heart. In a moment of despair, Emma retreated to the mansion's garden, As she gazed at the flowers around her, her son Lucas ran happily toward her, bringing a bit of light back into her life. But even so, her eyes, which sought security and protection in Benjamin, seemed distant. "Hi, Mom," Lucas called, holding out a drawing he had made at school. "Look, I made this for you." It was a colorful picture of a smiling sun, and for a moment Emma smiled genuinely. Yet, Clara's words still echoed in her mind. "It's beautiful, Lucas. Thank you so much." She hugged her son, feeling comforted, but the memory of Clara's remarks continued to torment her. Later, when Benjamin entered the room, Emma hesitated to share her worries. She wanted to open up, but feared he might see her as the fraud Clara had insinuated. The silence between them became a burden, and Emma decided it was better to ignore her concerns. "Hi, Benjamin," she said, trying to keep her voice light. "Lucas made a drawing for me today." Benjamin looked at young Lucas, his face lighting up at the sight of the artwork. "Amazing, Lucas. I love this smiling sun. You're a talented artist." He even crouched down to kiss his son's forehead. The look Benjamin gave Emma at that moment carried something genuine, something that made her believe there was hope. But as dinner was served, Clara appeared again, like an unwelcome guest, refusing to leave. "Oh, Benjamin," she began, her voice sweet yet cutting. "Don't you see more than just a drawing? Your wife might not be as interested in you as she is in your wealth, and she's using little Lucas to soften you up." The mood at the table changed immediately. Benjamin, who was about to make a loving remark about dinner, froze, his gaze dropping to the table. Emma's heart sank. He seemed to be swayed, and fear consumed her. "Clara," Benjamin said, his voice cold and firm, "don't start with your insinuations. Emma is my wife and deserves respect, just like anyone else in this house." Emma looked into Benjamin's eyes, hoping to see confirmation that he truly supported her. She wanted to believe he was protecting her, but Clara's words still lingered in her mind. Later, when they retreated to their bedroom, Emma couldn't hold back her tears. She walked to the window, gazing at the stars shining in the sky, wondering where they had built walls instead of bridges. Benjamin appeared in the doorway, his expression filled with concern. "Emma, what's going on? You seem distant, and I don't understand why." She turned, tears streaming down her face. "Clara's right. Emma hesitated. "It feels like I'm only here for what you have, and it hurts me. I don't want to be seen as a gold digger or someone taking advantage of you." Enveloped by her vulnerability, Benjamin stepped closer. "Emma, you mean so much more to me than that. Don't believe anything Clara says. I'm trying to understand you, this life we're building together. But I'll admit, I'm struggling to open up." He hesitated, bringing his hands to his face. Emma could see the inner battle reflected in his eyes. "I need you, but I'm afraid of letting myself be vulnerable. The truth is, I'm not as strong as I seem." Benjamin's honesty touched Emma deeply, and she realized that their walls were quite similar. "We need each other, Benjamin. We can create something beautiful together, but it takes trust. I can't do this alone." Benjamin looked at her for a moment, and Emma saw something flicker in his eyes, a silent promise that they would both try. "From now on, I'll be honest with you as much as I can. Let's work on this together," Benjamin said. The room grew still, and the walls that had seemed so unbreakable began to crack. Emma felt that, perhaps their connection could grow despite Clara's manipulations, but she knew she had to stay vigilant. Clara wouldn't give up so easily. Even as new challenges loomed, Emma felt strong enough to face them. There was more to Benjamin than his cold exterior, and that realization was the first step toward a future she hoped they could build together, one day at a time. Life at Benjamin's mansion began to take on a new rhythm. The relationship between him and Emma was slowly building, despite the difficulties and Clara's constant spiteful remarks. Emma did her best to ignore the disdain, but the tense atmosphere in the house was becoming unbearable. One morning, while pouring coffee in the kitchen, Emma overheard a conversation between two staff members. "Did you hear? Benjamin's new wife is pregnant," one said. "It's definitely not his," another replied, followed by scandalized laughter. Emma's heart raced. Who would spread such cruel lies about her? It had to be Clara, of course. Determined to confront the situation, Emma went to find Benjamin in the living room, where he was reviewing some documents. "Benjamin, we need to talk," she said, trying to keep the anxiety out of her voice. "About what?" he asked, looking up, his eyes filled with fatigue. The tension between them felt like a taut string ready to snap. "I'm hearing rumors," Clara is saying I'm pregnant by another man. That's not true, Emma said, indignation clear in her tone. I would never do such a thing. Benjamin froze, his expression shifting from surprise to confusion. Is that all you have to say? I can't believe you're letting that woman's lies dictate this conversation. Benjamin, please, I'm not joking. This is just another cruel lie she's using to drive us apart. Emma pleaded, her voice rising with desperation. What do you expect me to do about it? The house is buzzing with whispers about you, and I don't know who to trust. I can't just ignore what everyone is saying, Benjamin admitted, frustration evident in his voice. Over the past few days, the rumors surrounding Emma had consumed his thoughts. Who should he believe? His mind was clouded with doubt and confusion, making it hard to see the truth. Do you honestly think I could do something like that? I'm not the person Clara is trying to make me out to be. Emma was near tears. The situation felt more unbearable by the moment. We can overcome this together. I'm learning to care about you, and I want us to build our lives on a solid foundation. But I need you to stand by my side. Benjamin ran his hand through his hair, his emotions playing out in his eyes. Fine, Emma, I'll give you a chance, but my heart is full of insecurities. I've been alone for so long and, well, I don't want to get hurt again. If you're willing to listen, I can show you the truth, Emma said, desperately hoping he could see the sincerity in her eyes. The tension thickened, and then Benjamin began to speak. I'm sterile, Emma. I can't have children. His confession came out like a blow, and the pain in his face was unmistakable. So if you're pregnant, it can't be mine. Emma froze, his words echoing in her mind. The revelation caught her off guard, but soon her shock turned to anger. Benjamin, I would never play with your feelings. You have to believe me. Clara is lying. I'm your wife, and I promise to stand by you. Benjamin's eyes turned cold, his face closed off with an expression of distrust. How can I know you don't have other feelings? My past has taught me to be cautious. At that moment, Emma's vulnerability became clear, her heart visibly wounded. I'm here to build a family with you, not to destroy what we have. Whatever you feel about your past cannot involve me. Before Benjamin could reply, a long silence fell between them. The heavy tension was palpable, and eventually, Emma felt there was no way out. The man she loved seemed to be drifting further away. It was as if the deepest parts of their connection were unraveling. Lost in thought, Emma felt the pressure mounting in her chest. Benjamin, I can't stay here, not like this. I need space to breathe. I need to protect my son and myself, she said, her voice trembling. You're going to leave me? After everything? What will you do? You can't just walk away, Benjamin shouted, but his words no longer resonated with her heart. Yes, I'm leaving. And I'm taking Lucas with me, she confirmed, tears streaming down her face. And I swear I'll never come back. I can't stay in a place where I'm not believed. I can't stay in a place where, above all, you don't trust me. Benjamin's eyes were filled with pain and confusion, but Emma no longer believed in him. She saw how Clara's manipulation had destroyed everything she had dreamed of. Most importantly, she couldn't remain in a place where love was so often replaced by mistrust. Emma, Benjamin began, desperation etched across his face. But the words wouldn't come. He recognized the truth in what she said, yet the doubts and insecurities consumed him, making it impossible to open up. I can't do this alone, Benjamin. I can't fight the lack of trust in Clara's rumors, while you accuse me and refuse to believe in me. Emma responded, trying to hold back her tears, but frustration overwhelmed her. She grabbed Lucas's small backpack, which she had packed earlier with some clothes and essentials while he played in the garden. I'll gather our things, and we'll leave. I just want a place where we can start over. Do you really think you can just leave without trying to fix this? Benjamin asked, his voice low and shaky. There was a hint of fear in the way he stepped closer, trying to take her arm, but Emma pulled away. I tried, Benjamin. I showed you my loyalty, my love, but all you see is Clara lurking in the shadows. I might be a chapter in your life, but I can't be a burden. Her words hit him like daggers. Without another word, Emma took Lucas's hand, and together they walked toward the door. A mix of determination and sadness surrounded them as Benjamin stood frozen, paralyzed in silent shock. If you walk out that door, Emma, I don't know if there will be another chance. I don't know if you'll find someone who loves you like I do. Benjamin began, but Emma turned, facing him one last time. Love isn't just about saying the words. It's about trust and support. And you're not giving me that. Clara may think this is a game, but my life isn't a game, and Lucas deserves better, she declared. And with that, Emma left the mansion, carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, but determined to fight for a better future. As she passed through the gate, she looked back, seeing Benjamin still standing there, overwhelmed by his emotions. His expression was one of confusion, but also helplessness. "Goodbye, Benjamin," she whispered to herself, her heart breaking as she left behind all that could have been. Freedom lay ahead, but the pain of leaving Benjamin and the mansion behind would follow her every step. Emma vowed to herself that she would never return, that she would never allow manipulation and distrust to harm her again. Above all, she promised to ensure Lucas had a bright future, far from the shadows of the past she left behind. With tears in her eyes, she walked toward the future, ready to rewrite her story, no matter what tomorrow might bring. Meanwhile, Benjamin sat in his office, surrounded by piles of documents, and a silence that seemed to shake him. Emma's departure had left him in a state of confusion and regret. He couldn't stop replaying her words in his mind, and with each passing minute, his doubts grew. Clara had made a fool of him, feeding insecurities he didn't realize he carried. How could I have believed her? Benjamin murmured to himself, slamming his hand on the table. The rumors, the doubts, all of it seemed so distant now, as memories of good moments with Emma surfaced. The smiles he shared with Lucas, the small gestures of affection. That was love, not the twisted game Clara had played. Benjamin's mind began to race. He remembered how Clara used to speak poorly of Emma, the insinuations she would drop during their conversations, almost as if she were planting seeds of distrust. Clara had always been manipulative, but now he would have to confront her about it. He stood and walked down the hallway to Clara's office. Benjamin found her sorting through some papers, a look of disdain on her face as he entered. "We need to talk, Clara," he said firmly. She looked up indifferently, as if entirely unbothered. "About what? If you're thinking of bringing up Emma again, I'm sorry, but the truth is she doesn't deserve your trust." "That's exactly what I want to discuss. It's time for you to be honest with me," Benjamin insisted, stepping closer. "What you've done is nothing short of betrayal." Clara raised an eyebrow, a cynical smile curling her lips. "Betrayal? She's the traitor, not me. You should have been more careful, Benjamin." "No." He shook his head, resolute. "I see now that you were the one spreading lies about her. You're the one who started those rumors, weren't you? You were trying to convince me that Emma wasn't worth it." Clara's smile faltered, and a flicker of nervousness crossed her eyes. "You can't seriously believe I would do that. All I've ever done is protect you, like I always have." "Protect me? Or control me?" "You've always wanted to stay in my life, Clara. I tried to distance myself, but you drove the wedge further with your lies and manipulations. You pretended to be on my side, but you were the one leading me into a pit of distrust." Benjamin snapped. "Tell me why. What is it about Emma that threatens you so much?" Clara sighed, her frustration beginning to surface. "Because I was never enough for you, Benjamin. I always saw you longing for what she had, a real life, a family. I just wanted what should have been mine." Benjamin felt a chill run through him. "But your desire doesn't justify your lies. You made me push her away, and now, because of you, my family is falling apart." "Family? You've let her fool you. Do you honestly think a woman like her could ever love you? You're a valuable man, Benjamin, and she just wanted a comfortable life." Clara shouted, her voice rising in anger. "Enough," Benjamin said, his anger transforming into steely determination. "Emma is gone, and I see now that you're the one who poisoned everything between us with your lies. I can't trust you anymore. Consider yourself dismissed." Clara's expression shifted instantly to one of fury and disbelief. "You can't do this to me. I've always been there for you. And if Emma doesn't come back, if Emma doesn't return, it's because you destroyed that chance. Leave. I never want to hear your name again," Benjamin said, feeling a weight lift as the words left his mouth. With Clara storming out of the room, defeated, Benjamin took a deep breath and made a decision. He had to find Emma. He wasn't sure how, but he had to make things right. Memories of the past haunted him, but his newfound clarity was stronger. He knew he had to show Emma that his love for her was real. As he left the mansion and got into his car, something caught his attention. A folded piece of paper was tucked under the windshield wiper. He grabbed it and unfolded it, his expression shifting as he read the words. It was a note Lucas had written to Emma, but one detail stood out. "Mommy, I love you, and I'm so happy with our new family and Daddy Ben." Benjamin's heart stopped for a moment. The words echoed in his mind, replacing panic with a new understanding. Lucas considered him his father? What did this mean? The truth about his sterility and the realization that fatherhood didn't require a biological connection reshaped everything he thought about Emma and their relationship. He felt a whirlwind of emotions, regret, confusion, and most of all, an urgent need to find Emma. If the note was true, it changed everything between them. The only way to reconnect with her and uncover the truth was to seek her out immediately. The sun was shining in the sky, but Benjamin's heart felt heavy. He needed to find Emma and tell her how much he had changed, but he wasn't sure where she was. So Benjamin grabbed his phone and quickly reached out to some friends and acquaintances, hoping someone would know where Emma might have gone. The sun was setting when he finally got a lead, a small town just a few hours away. After a few hours of searching, Benjamin found himself in a modest neighborhood, full of small shops and the smell of fresh coffee in the air. As he passed a clothing store, his eyes caught a familiar figure behind the counter. It was Emma, arranging some t-shirts. His heart raced. "Emma," he called out, hope lighting up his face. She looked up and Benjamin saw a mix of surprise and distrust in her eyes. "What are you doing here, Benjamin?" Her voice was sharp, but he could sense the sadness hidden in her words. "I came to find you. We need to talk," he said, nervously adjusting himself. "About us, about what happened. I'm sorry." Emma crossed her arms, clearly reluctant. "You think you can just show up out of nowhere and everything will be fine? You hurt me, Benjamin. I don't know if I can just forgive you. I know I hurt you, but I've learned from my mistakes. Clara was manipulating everything, and I let her words affect me. I let you go without fighting for you," Benjamin explained, sincerity in every word. "And what am I supposed to do with that?" Emma shot back, looking him in the eye. "Do you really think an apology is enough to convince me?" He took a deep breath, his determination growing. "Not just an apology. I want to build a new life with you, with our child. I know I made mistakes, but I'm willing to change." She hesitated, her expression softening. "Our child?" Emma asked, a hint of curiosity shining in her eyes, but doubt still lingered. "What do you mean by that?" "I found Lucas's note." Benjamin began, but Emma cut him off. "There's something you need to know," she interrupted, looking deeply into his eyes. "I'm pregnant, with twins. I went through an experimental procedure to have a chance at building the family we always dreamed of." Emma's words hit Benjamin like a bolt of lightning. Pregnant with twins? An experimental procedure? He was in shock, her words echoing in his mind. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "Because I wasn't sure it would work, and I was already so hurt by you. I wanted you by my side, but I didn't know if that was possible, especially after everything that happened," Emma replied, her gaze steady, though her eyes began to glisten with tears. Benjamin felt a mixture of love and admiration for Emma as he realized all she had done for them. "You did this for us? That's incredible," he murmured, emotions spilling into his voice. "You took a risk to give us a chance." "I did it because I believed we could face whatever came our way together. I wanted to give them a chance to have a father, a home. But now, after everything that's happened, I'm not sure if you truly want this," Emma said, her voice fragile but resolute, cutting into Benjamin's heart. "Emma, I want to be with you. I want to take care of you and our children," he declared, urgency growing in his voice. "What I did was terrible. I should have believed in you from the start." Emma looked at him, tears streaming down her face. "And what if you leave again? What will happen to our family?" "I promise I won't. I'll fight for us, Emma. I want to be a good husband and a present father. Give me another chance to prove I can be everything you need," he said, determined. Benjamin knelt before her, his plea sincere. "Please, let me back into your life. I want to build a future with you and our children." She studied him, a mixture of pain and hope in her eyes. "Benjamin, I want to believe you, but the wounds are still deep. I understand, and I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to regain your trust. I want to be better, to be the person you and our children deserve," Benjamin said, the weight of his words touching Emma's heart. Emma hesitated, torn between the pain of the past and the hope beginning to grow in her heart. Do you know how many challenges we'll face? This pregnancy won't be easy, and I can't go through it all alone again, she murmured, her vulnerability shining through. And I won't let you face anything alone. We'll do this together. This is about us now, about our family. I want to be by your side, not just as a father, but as your partner in everything, Benjamin said, his voice steady. Emma's expression softened as his words reached her heart. He could see she was struggling, weighing every word and promise he was offering. But the concern on her face still showed there was a long road ahead. What if you change your mind again? What if Clara interferes again? This is all still so uncertain, she said, her insecurities laid bare. This time, I'll fight against anything that tries to come between us. I've faced Clara before, and I won't hesitate to do it again. You deserve to know that no matter what happens, I won't walk away, Benjamin assured her. He noticed that Emma seemed a bit more open, maybe beginning to let her heart heal. You can't promise everything will be perfect. Life doesn't work that way, she said, though a note of hope began to creep into her voice. I'm not promising perfection, but I promise to do my best to be the man you and the twins deserve. I want to build something real and lasting with you, he said firmly. In her heart, Emma felt a mix of emotions, uncertainty, fear, but also a spark of hope rekindling. She looked at Benjamin, vulnerable and on his knees, and knew the decision wouldn't be easy. But the love he had for her and the children was starting to break through the barriers she had built to protect herself. Benjamin, she began hesitantly, but he interrupted her. Please, don't say anything now. Just give me a chance. Let's talk, plan, and figure out how we can make this work together, he pleaded, the sincerity visible in his eyes. Emma leaned in to look into his eyes, searching for honesty. In them, she saw not only regret, but a true willingness to change, a genuine desire to create something meaningful. If I say yes, we'll have to face a lot of challenges, and I don't want empty promises, she said, feeling the scales begin to tip in the right direction. I'm not promising it'll be easy, but I promise to try. And if I have to fight for this every day, I will. You're the woman I love, and now I'm sure it's your love I've been waiting for my entire life, Benjamin declared, the emotion clear in his voice. Emma took a deep breath, feeling the winds of a new beginning softly blowing. All right, let's try this together, but we need to be honest with each other from now on. Deal, Benjamin replied, a smile forming on his lips, the weight lifting from his chest. He stood up slowly and pulled Emma into a long, heartfelt kiss. In that moment, the hope for a fresh start began to grow between them. They knew the challenges were just beginning, but together they could face anything. The weeks flew by, and slowly, Emma and Benjamin started to rebuild their relationship. Trust, once shattered, was being carefully reconstructed, with honest conversations and moments of vulnerability. Sitting on the sofa in the newly renovated mansion, a space they had transformed together into a home, Emma watched Benjamin playing with Lucas. The boys' laughter filled the room, warming both of their hearts. It's amazing to see Lucas so happy, Emma commented with a smile. He's been so excited about having a sibling. Benjamin smiled back, his eyes lighting up. He has such contagious energy, and I'm excited for him to be a role model for the twins when they arrive. The anticipation in his voice revealed just how ready he was for this new chapter. I think we'll do well as parents, Emma said, hope resonating in her tone. We just need to keep respecting each other, right? Yes, and communication will be key. I'm here to support you in everything, he assured her, looking deeply into her eyes, and to be the father our children deserve. As time passed, Emma began to feel more secure with Benjamin. They were truly building a new life together. And when the day finally came for the twins to be born, emotions ran high for everyone. After hours of labor, Emma gave birth to 2 beautiful, healthy boys. The moment Benjamin held the little ones in his arms for the first time, a surge of love overwhelmed him. He looked at Emma, who was exhausted but glowing. We did it, my love, he exclaimed, his voice filled with emotion. They're beautiful. Emma smiled, tears of happiness filling her eyes. Yes, they're perfect, and they're ours. What should we name them? Benjamin asked, admiring the tiny faces of the boys who could barely open their eyes. I was thinking about Eduardo and Marcos, Emma suggested, feeling she could honor her father by naming one of their children after him. What do you think? Marcos and Eduardo, such beautiful names. But I want you to know that I'll always fight to keep our family united, without Clara ever stepping into our lives again. Benjamin replied, his gaze serious. Emma nodded, aware that Clara's presence could pose a threat in the future. We'll need to be firm. I don't want her interfering with what we have. I'll make that very clear. My priority is our family now, Benjamin affirmed, the determination in his voice reinforcing the trust they were building. As the days passed, Benjamin took care of the children and began to discover the depth of love he felt for them. Every smile, every cry, every moment he spent with the boys made his heart overflow. One morning, while feeding the twins, Emma approached and watched him with a smile. I never thought you'd be so good with them, she commented, with a hint of admiration. Neither did I. But this love is different, Emma. It's deeper than I ever imagined. It makes me realize what truly matters. Benjamin replied, looking at the children, and then at Emma. Meanwhile, Clara started to cross his mind, and on a particularly sunny day, Benjamin decided to confront her. He wanted to ensure that Clara understood there was no room for her in his life anymore. When he arrived at Clara's house, she greeted him with a forced smile. Benjamin, it's so good to see you, she said, trying to appear friendly. Clara, we need to talk. My life has changed, and I won't allow you to interfere in it, Benjamin declared firmly. Emma, Lucas, and the twins are my priority now, and that's not going to change. Clara raised her eyebrows, surprised. The coldness in her expression was gone. You're being impulsive. I've always been there for you. What makes you think this life you're living is real? Because I know the value of what Emma and I have built. And that doesn't include you or your lies, he replied resolutely. From now on, I don't want to hear your name or be involved in your schemes. With those words, Benjamin turned to leave, feeling a weight lifted from his shoulders. He wouldn't let Clara interfere in his life again. He was ready to embrace the life he had chosen. Later that afternoon, when he returned home, Benjamin found Emma on the couch, holding Lucas while the twins slept peacefully in their cribs. He approached, a quiet happiness filling the room. How did it go? Emma asked, looking at him curiously. I dealt with some unfinished business with Clara, Benjamin said, relieved. I made it clear there's no more space for her in our lives. Emma smiled, admiring Benjamin's courage. You did the right thing. We can't let the past pull us away from what we're building. With a touch of pride, he sat beside her, admiring their children. Look at them, Emma. They're everything I ever dreamed of. Now I truly understand what it means to be a father. Love is unconditional and pure. Emma looked at the boys, sleeping so peacefully. And it's a love we'll nurture together. We're ready for this, truly, she said, placing her hand on Benjamin's. As the hours passed and night fell, Benjamin held his two sons tenderly, a feeling of fulfillment filling his heart. Emma was by his side, and he realized this moment marked the beginning of a new chapter. Benjamin looked at Emma, his gaze full of emotion. Can I hold them like this, just in my arms? I feel like I need this moment. Of course, love, Emma said softly, her voice full of affection. She moved closer to him, cherishing the sight of the man she loved now as a father. That night, as Benjamin watched his children and felt the strength of the love surrounding him, he couldn't help but think about the future they were building together. In the echoes of Lucas's laughter, the fragility of the twins, and Emma's loving presence, everything finally felt complete. Hey Emma, Benjamin said, his voice quiet but laden with emotion. Do you remember what we used to dream about? Each new day starts now, and we can share it all together. Yes, and we will. We'll build it one day at a time, she replied, the sparkle in her eyes reflecting the same determination he felt. There, in the stillness of the night, the home they had created pulsed with life. Benjamin knew they would face challenges, but together, with love and trust, they were ready to weather any storm that came their way. The home, now filled with love and hope, promised a bright future, and for the first time, Benjamin felt truly complete. Let's play a little game for those who only read the comments. Type milkshake in the comments. Only those who make it this far will get it. Now, let's continue with the story. As the months went by, life in Benjamin and Emma's house turned into something beautiful and unexpected. Once a place of uncertainties and cold memories, the mansion now resonated with children's laughter and lively conversations. The scent of freshly baked cookies often lingered in the air, and the once meticulously calculated garden now bloomed with vibrant colors. mirroring the joy inside the home. Benjamin, who had spent so much of his life as a target of criticism and mockery from family and friends, was now seen in a different light. What had once been gatherings of judgmental stares were now filled with admiring glances. Those around him began to notice the change. A man, not only successful, but also kind, caring, and genuinely happy. One sunny afternoon, Benjamin decided to host a small gathering at the mansion. He wanted everyone to see firsthand the home he and Emma had built together. While they prepared for the event, Emma looked at Benjamin, noticing the sparkle in his eyes as he flipped burgers on the grill. "You seem really happy, Benjamin," Emma said with a radiant smile. "I never imagined seeing you change so much in front of others." He paused for a moment, admiring the woman by his side. "It's because you showed me that love is what truly gives life meaning. The courage to face our challenges together brought me here," Benjamin replied, his voice full of sincerity. As the guests began to arrive, including members of Benjamin's family, he felt a slight nervousness. But as he looked around and saw Lucas happily running through the garden and the twins crawling on the grass, he knew it all made sense. "Benjamin, what a wonderful party you've organized," said Patrick, an old friend who had once doubted his choices, approaching him. "It seems you figured it out after all. Family is the most precious thing." Benjamin smiled, shaking Patrick's hand. "The truth is, I owe so much to Emma," he admitted, glancing lovingly at his wife in the distance. "Without her, I wouldn't have found this path." Patrick nodded in agreement. "She's incredible. And what you two have built together really shows the potential of love. We can all see it now." Benjamin's parents, who had often been critical in the past, also approached their son that day with genuine smiles. "We're so proud of you, son," his mother said, her eyes shining with tears. "What you and Emma have created here is truly inspiring." Hearing this, Emma joined them, gently letting go of past grievances. "Thank you," she said, feeling she was finally becoming part of the family. "We wanted this home to reflect the love we've always wanted to share." As the sun began to set, the mansion was alive with joy. Soft music filled the air as children played and adults continued their lively conversations. Emma and Benjamin had transformed a cold, intimidating space into a warm and welcoming home. Later, as the party began to wind down, Benjamin and Emma stepped away from the crowd, seeking a quiet moment. They found a spot under a large tree in the garden, with Lucas asleep nearby and the twins nestled in their arms. Benjamin looked around, taking in every detail. "This is the home I always dreamed of, Emma," he admitted, emotional. "And it's all because of you." Emma smiled, gently touching his hand. "We built this together, Benjamin, and continuing to grow our family will only make us stronger." He pulled her into an embrace, overwhelmed with gratitude. "I never imagined something like this could actually happen. I feel complete. The strength we need to face any challenge is right here, in each of us," he whispered, his eyes closed in contentment. Their eyes met, and the love they shared was stronger and deeper than any obstacle they had faced. In each other's gaze, they saw a future filled with promises, memories to create, and stories to tell. As night fell over the mansion, now a symbol of love and renewal, Benjamin, Emma, and their children were surrounded by the warmth of a true family. All their fears, insecurities, and doubts had melted away as they embraced the transformative power of love and unity. As they watched the stars begin to sparkle in the night sky, Benjamin felt a wave of emotion fill his chest. With the twins nestled in his arms, he turned to Emma, gratitude evident in his eyes. "I remember when this house felt so empty. Now I can't imagine a place more full of life and love," he said softly. Emma nodded, holding his hand and gazing at their children. "We've built something beautiful," she replied, looking at the little ones who had further strengthened the foundation of their home. "And with each passing day, I know we'll be able to face whatever comes our way together." Benjamin smiled, thinking about what tomorrow might bring. "With you by my side, I'm ready for anything. This is just the start of our new beginning, and I'm looking forward to every moment." As the breeze carried the laughter of their guests, still sharing stories and smiles, Emma and Benjamin sat together, watching their children take the first steps of a new chapter. Beneath that tree, they made a silent promise to be each other's home. A space of love, understanding, and hope. The celebration was a success, and as the last guest left happy and touched by the warmth of the evening, The couple sat on the porch, cradling their sleeping children. "Do you remember when we thought everything was lost?" Emma asked softly, her gaze fixed on the horizon where the city lights began to twinkle like stars. "Yes, and to think I almost let that become our reality," Benjamin replied, his voice reflective. "But what matters is that we found our way back to each other. And now, with our family, we are truly whole." They sat in silence for a while, simply enjoying each other's company and the peace surrounding them. Finally, Benjamin spoke again, his voice filled with promises. "I promise to love and support you, Emma, and our children, every step of the way." Emma rested her head on his shoulder, feeling safe and loved. "And I promise the same, Benjamin. Always." As the night deepened, they remained there, wrapped in a quiet connection full of meaning. Under the same starry sky that had witnessed their struggles and triumphs, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing they had each other. With a final meaningful glance, they stepped back into their transformed home, feeling that every wall and room now told the story of the love and determination they had built together. And so, with the promise of eternal love, Benjamin and Emma prepared to welcome a new dawn, confident, united, and ready to make every day an inspiring chapter in their life together. What did you think of Benjamin and Emma's story? Share your opinion in the comments below. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score would you give? Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to follow all our stories. Don't forget to check out more heartwarming stories by clicking here on the end screen.